Can you hear me okay? There we go. Okay, if everyone can take their seats. I love this small little tight-knit group we have. It's like a little family dinner, right? But really good dinner, not the whole buffet thing. Well, welcome to Goodwill's annual awards luncheon. My name is Laura Monteverdi, and I'm the evening anchor on KARK. And I'm so thankful that we can all be back together. We were just talking, Brian and I, it's been 2 years since we've been able to do this event, and I was honored to MC it a couple years ago. Was bummed that we couldn't hold it last year, but glad that we are together again in the same room. And virtually, too, we want to thank the people who are joining online, and we want to celebrate with everyone today. So as we begin, I would like to welcome my new friend, Reverend Ben Crimson. He's a senior pastor at St. James United Methodist Church, and he'll be delivering today's invocation.
Let us be in prayer. Gracious and holy God, we are so thankful to you for this day, and we are thankful to you for the work of Goodwill, for the services they provide to our fine state. God, we know that you have a heart for the poor, that you have a heart for the oppressed, that you have a heart for the downtrodden, that you have a heart for those whom we so often overlook. And we remember how Jesus instructed us, how Jesus modeled for us what it meant to go and to show real, unconditional love. And God, today we give thanks for this organization that does that in practical ways, in life-changing ways. And so we celebrate your goodness that we evidence through Goodwill. God, I ask that you bless the food that is before us today, that it may provide for us the strength and nourishment that we need to continue to do your work in this world. In these uncertain and ever-changing times, that it might provide for us a spiritual courage to continue your work, to press on, to run the race, and to fight the good fight. God, help us to celebrate the goodness of who you are that we see through Goodwill. It's in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much, Reverend. Okay, so now we want to invite you all to enjoy your lunch, part of the reason that we're sitting at these tables today. We appreciate you all for supporting this event, and I want to give a shout out to our sponsors this year, and there are quite a few. This year's diamond sponsor is Bank OZK. Our platinum sponsors are Comfort Systems USA and Windstream. This year's gold sponsors include CBM Construction, Cushman and Wakefield Sage Partners, Iberia Bank, and TMB Capital Partners of Raymond James. Our silver sponsors, and there's a lot here, AMR Architects, Insight Engineering, Bancorp South, Baptist Health, BKD, Cross Gunter Witherspoon and Gouchus, Danny and Brian Marsh, Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, First Community Bank, JTS Financial, the Little Rock Regional Chamber of Commerce. Other silver sponsors include Mainstream Technologies, Ryder Truck Rental, Simmons Bank, Stoneward, United Healthcare, the UA Little Rock College of Business, and the University of Arkansas Pulaski Technical College. And now we can all applaud. Thank you for all of our sponsors. Because of you and your amazing support, good will happen. Now, Goodwill has been around for a very, very long time. If you want to go ahead and do the math, it was founded by Reverend Edgar J. Helms in Boston in 1902. He was a Methodist minister and a social innovator. He would collect used household items and clothing from wealthy areas in town, and then he would actually train people without jobs to repair them, and they would sell them to pay their wages. I learned this earlier today. It actually became their job, and it provided them financial independence and, most importantly, stability. And with that, Reverend Helms grew his philosophy of a hand up and not a hand out. Today, Goodwill is a $5 billion organization with over 160 independent organizations in 14 countries, all with a goal to help people overcome obstacles and experience the power of work. Reverend Helms passed away in 1942, but today, after a 30-year career in health policy and politics, His grandson is actually carrying on his legacy and his mission as chairman of the board for Goodwill Industries International. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Ned Helms. He joins us via video today.
Good afternoon. First of all, I wanted to thank Brian and his team for inviting me to be a part of this important celebration that you're having down there in Arkansas. I hope sometime I said to Brian, I really want to come down to Arkansas. Heard so much about what you've been doing, but I'm in Gorham, Maine, as you can see on the podium, coming to you from Goodwill of Northern New England. I served on the board here for 2 different terms and had the privilege of being chair for 3 years. So I know firsthand what it's like at the local level to be a part of a Goodwill organization that's serving its territory. And I know the strength and the power that you have. And when you put the 156 of us together, that strength that knows its community, when combined with 156 other Goodwills around the country, what extraordinary power we have as an organization, as an enterprise. You see that right there in Arkansas. I was talking with Brian and going through your website. And the fact that you stayed open as long as you did during the crisis in the last year, serving over 4,600 people and placing them in jobs where they earned over $12 an hour. The fact that you have new job training programs in welding and pharmaceutical technology, Goodwill Digital Career Accelerator, IT certification. You did that during this period of time. Going into 2022, you're going to be having 6 new credential programs, among them advanced manufacturing, business and office administration, healthcare, IT, and 2 new Excel centers that will serve people as they are getting ready to get their high school degrees and then go on from there. So you know about mission, you know about the full power of Goodwill, and to be a part of the celebration of those who will be getting an awards and recognition today is something that's very important for me. I, in fact, just stepped down from the Goodwill of Northern New England board. I had my last board meeting last month. So I know how important it is, the work that you do and the work we collectively can do. And there's no question that during this past year and a half, we have seen some very, very challenging times. But it's good to remember that Goodwill really was born in challenging times. Back in the late 19th century and the early 20th century, a young man who had come from Iowa to go to the BU School of Theology, Edgar Helms, that guy right there, my grandfather, he wanted to graduate from theology school, and then he wanted to go to India to be a missionary. But they didn't have the money to send him to India, and so he found himself assigned to a place called the Morgan Chapel, which was in the south end of Boston. And instead of going to another land to serve people from another land, he found himself in his own land with immigrants coming from all over the world. And so he was working with people who found themselves in a new country, with a new language, with no jobs. In many cases arriving with just the clothes they had in their back and a suitcase. There was deep poverty, no jobs, few belongings. And they were seeking to make a new life for themselves. And they were intent on building that new life, but they needed assistance. They didn't need to be cared for. They needed to be cared about. And that's how Goodwill came into its own. Along with the other leaders from the Morgan Chapel, my grandfather started a program that would get things into their life that they needed. Most importantly, a job, but also clothing, shelter. And so there's a apocryphal story, I guess you'd call it, of my grandfather throwing a burlap bag over his shoulder and going from the south end of Boston to Beacon Hill, a rather rich section of Boston, and collecting from people who had enough and more than they needed, clothes, furnishings, and being able to provide that people who did not have enough. And if their clothes needed mending or if the furniture needed fixing, they provided jobs. And if people couldn't go to the jobs because they had kids, they started daycare. They started doing these things, and they understood that a job wasn't just go to work, come home. A job was part of identity, a part of building pride in themselves. And so that was going on at the same time they were building that program. They were also building a multicultural center with people from all over the world. So the Morgan Chapel was changed and expanded to take on the new services, as well as they were providing, as well as the church. And the Morgan Chapel became the Morgan Memorial Church of all nations. And Goodwill from the south end of Boston started to expand to New York and then across the country, to a point where now in the United States, 82% of the population of our country lives within 10 miles of a Goodwill store or a Goodwill service center. That was the birth of the largest social enterprise in Northern America. And the DNA of that enterprise was coined in a lot of the phrases that we hear. Not charity, but a chance. Not a hand out, but a hand up. And it's part of our DNA. That's who we are. And so you start with those beginnings, and then every community, as they started at Goodwill, would serve those around them. And then in times of challenge, they would be able to change and adapt their program to make sure they were trying to bring everyone into a place where they could build a life for themselves. We saw challenges after World War I and World War II, where veterans and their family and veterans would come back from service, and some of them physically and emotionally had problems that they had to deal with. And so for people who had given so much for their country, Goodwill said, what can we do with you to build your life? And then we had other periods of time. In the early 1980s, fortunately as a country, we were moving from a time in which we took people with disabilities and put them away in institutions to saying, how can we help build you into the fabric of our community? What an important transition. And Goodwills across Northern America did that. They did that. That was part of what they had to do. I've often thought that what would Edgar Helms think today? And what would he say now if he saw the scope of who we are together? Individually powerful at the local level, unbelievably powerful as a movement. About a year ago, we still have 156 locally governed 501c3 Goodwills. Our total budget for all of those rolled up is $6 billion on an annual basis. We have over 140,000 employees. Last year, the last full year before the pandemic, we placed 230,000 people in career advancement and job placement. We served 1.1 million people, either face-to-face or in other ways. We had 24 million people who were helped on phone or on other electronic linkages. 46,000 veterans who have come home from Iraq and Afghanistan after what they sacrificed. They've received services through Goodwill. And 29,000 military families across this country have received help from Goodwill. 62,000 certificates, degrees, and credentials were awarded by Goodwills like yours and ours during that year. It sums up to the fact that every 31 seconds of every business day, someone gets a job through Goodwill. And in addition to that, there's the sustainability by our collections and what we do to help the environment. Last year, we collected 56 billion pounds in donations. 56 billion pounds. 4.6 billion pounds were diverted from what would otherwise just go into landfills. So we're not only serving people, we're serving the environment, we're serving all of us. What would he say if he looked and saw that? And frankly, I think he would repeat what he said back in the 1920s, when he said, people of goodwill, be dissatisfied until everyone in your community has achieved a maximum of abundant living. A maximum of abundant living. That's what you do. That's what we do together. And it's not just looking to say, I have a job, that's good. It's looking to say, I have pride, I built a new life. And to be able to say, these are my skills. This is my job. These are my colleagues. This is my family. This is my home. This is my life. I'm proud of what I've done. And I'm grateful for what you've done to support me as I was learning how to build a life for myself. I believe that people like that are going to be able to not only have the job, have the pride of being a part of community, but also will be giving back to that community in extraordinary ways because of our work together. And the work is not done. My dad, another Edgar Helms, was a Methodist minister. He served the pastoral ministry for 24 years. And then he left the pastoral ministry and he became a field chaplain for what was then a state institution in Massachusetts, the Belchertown State School. And what he was doing was he was working with folks who were moving out of the institution into the community, working with those people, working with the staff, to make sure that in addition to all the skills that were being provided, there was a spiritual side of things that was being recognized, that we were building whole people. And my dad used to have a favorite story that he would tell about that period of time of transition when people were moving from institutional care into community care. It took place up in Canada during that period at a program called The Arch. And in The Arch, there were folks who were in the midst of that transition. And one day, they took a field trip to a beach. And they were having a great time. They were on the beach and, running around, what you do when you were at the beach. And one of the instructors looked down and saw one of the folks who was a resident, and he was busy down there in that wonderful part of the sand where the tide has gone out, and you can take a stick and you can start writing stuff. And he went down and he said, "John, what are you doing?" And he said, "I'm drawing." And he said, "Wow, what are you drawing?" John said, "This is a tree, this is Mr. Sun, this is Ms. Moon." And the instructor decided to challenge John with an abstraction. And he said, "John, can you draw a picture of joy for me?" John thought. He looked up the beach one way and looked down the other. He said, "No, I can't." And the instructor says, "Why is that?" And John said, "Because there's not enough room." I think that what we do every day in all our work is to fulfill our mission by creating room for joy. Room for joy in their lives, room for joy in our lives as we bring everyone into this extraordinary thing we call community. You have done that, the things I mentioned earlier. Also, for the last 4 years, 58 students have received diplomas and are moving on from your Excel centers. And your Career Center is going to expand into 9 communities, preparing people for education. You're creating room for joy. You've created it. And so for everything that you've done, and everything that you're doing, and everything that you will do in the future, I say thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I wish you Godspeed as you go forward. Again, thank you so much for letting me be a part of this special day. Bye-bye.
A very special day indeed. Let's give a round of applause. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Goodwill Industries of Arkansas Board Vice Chairman, Troy Wells. Please welcome Troy Wells.
Thank you, Laura. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you. All of you that are here in person, as well as those who have joined us online, thank you for being a part of this event today. And for all of you, supporters of Goodwill, our staff, customers, despite the last year and all the challenges we've had and that we've faced together, we've continued to support Goodwill and our mission to change lives through education, training, and employment. We have a wonderful team at Goodwill Industries of Arkansas, and I see many of our team members that are here today, and many, I hope, are watching us online. And I want to say from me and on behalf of the Board of Directors for Goodwill of Arkansas, how much we appreciate everything that you do every day, how you carry out our mission for this organization, and all the good that you do. Thank you so much. Leading this great organization is Brian Marsh. He's our President and CEO of Goodwill Industries of Arkansas, and he's been leading the organization for more than 4 years, and previously he was the Chief Operating Officer for the organization. When the pandemic began and change was everywhere, Brian not only helped lead his team through it, but fostered growth and innovation. And I remember having a lot of conversations with Brian when the pandemic started, and being part of another large nonprofit organization serving the community, we both had a lot of notes to share with one another and spent a lot of time thinking through how do we continue our ministry and our missions throughout the pandemic. But through it all, Brian never lost his passion for helping others and held on to our core belief that if people are able to find their place in the workforce, it will create stronger individuals, stronger families, and communities. In addition to helping people find jobs, you heard some of this just a few moments ago, the Excel Center, our high school for adults, continue to offer Arkansans an opportunity that they can't get anywhere else. And since it opened in 2017, 58 students have earned their high school diplomas through this program, through the Excel Center. But there's more great news. The State Department of Education has given the go-ahead to open 2 additional campuses, one in Northwest Arkansas and one in Northeast Arkansas, so we're thrilled about that. In the last year, Goodwill also launched new job training programs like welding and pharmaceutical technician training, all while growing its internal mission, expanding services and resources to Goodwill employees. Please help me welcome the leader of our organization, Mr. Brian Marsh.
Well, first of all, thank you, Troy, very much for, and our board of directors, many of whom are joining remotely, for your support through the pandemic. Thank you again to Laura for, again, serving as our MC and shepherding us through this event. Would also like to extend a thanks to Ned Helms for his comments and his service to the Goodwill Network as a member of the Goodwill International Board of Directors, but also as the current board chair. It is because of the great work of his grandfather, Dr. Edgar Helms, that Goodwill Network is making the impact that we are today. I would like to thank you, our sponsors. Thank you for your patience as we have dealt with the pandemic, and we've made many changes. We were forced to forego this event last year and take it virtual this year. We thank you for your support throughout the years, and your support enables us to make good happen. So we do greatly appreciate that. I would like to recognize the members of the Goodwill team, both here in the room and many of them watching virtually. They represent more than 950 Goodwill employees across the state, both in our Goodwill operations and our Excel Center. And they truly make Goodwill happen every day. Lastly, I'd like to thank my wife, Danny, for being here today and the support she gives me on a daily basis. Today, we are here to celebrate Goodwill Industries of Arkansas and our award winners. They represent all of those who support us, serve us, train us, and through the Excel Center, educate. When the President declared a national state of emergency due to COVID on March 13th, Friday the 13th, 2020, we were well on our way to a stellar year in the number of people we served, services provided, and lives changed. We're all aware of the impact that the pandemic has made on our lives, rapidly changing our lives to a level no one could have predicted. As Dr. Helms noted, 82% of the population of our country lives within 10 miles of a Goodwill. There are over 3,200 Goodwill stores in North America. During the pandemic, there was a period of time when only 54 stores in the U.S. were open. 30 of those stores were here in Arkansas. Goodwill Industries was deemed essential because of the programs we operate: reentry services, career services, the Academy at Goodwill, and the Excel Center. Also a factor in this designation was the fact that we handle over 45 million pounds of donations every year. Where would those donations go had we not been open? Thanks to our teams working to ensure that everything was done to protect our customers, our clients, our donors, and our team members through COVID protocols, we were able to operate with a minimum number of positive cases, a minimum number of quarantines and interruptions. As Troy mentioned, had a lot of interaction and conversation with leaders, business leaders throughout the state and throughout the country as we were going through this. And it was a very challenging time, and leaning on each other was very important. So our mission is changing lives through education, training, and employment. How did we accomplish this during the pandemic? Our services went largely virtual. For our trade school, the Academy at Goodwill, and our high school, the Excel Center, our instructors scrambled to take our instruction virtual, which allowed us to continue to serve our students. Prior to the pandemic, the Academy had launched the mental health first aid class. This was fortuitous in timing because as we went through the pandemic, more people saw people around them struggling. There was a high demand for the class, and we served students throughout the state and beyond the state's borders. Our Excel Center students were challenged with learning in a virtual world, just as those in our traditional schools and universities. Our Excel Center staff worked with our students to help them progress towards their goal of earning a high school diploma, and a number were successful. And in July, we celebrated our graduates from fall 2020 and the spring 2021, and here we have a video to show you the graduation.
I grew up too fast, and so I chose to take care of my son, and I just couldn't put the two together. So I had to make sure he was together first.
I am 42. I'll be 43 in June. I have 3 kids, 2 boys, 1 girl. The whole reason why I did this was because I always told them they can do it. So I was like, hey, it's never too late for me, so here I am. Because this is like a long time coming for me. It's something I always wanted to do. It's like a personal dream. Like some of my friends was like, girl, how you gonna go back to school, you know, with all this you got going on? I was like, it's just, I don't know, I felt like I gypped myself of the walking across the stage and just all that.
I was looking for what I got, a nice, comfortable setting and help with my education.
It's kind of like a family need here. Y'all stay on us, y'all are encouraging, and that's a good thing because life can actually throw you so many curveballs, because I have had plenty since I've been here. I've been dealing with all types of stuff, but I pushed it all aside, and this was my main goal.
I plan to tackle the ACT and continue to college.
I'm just on the things I wanted to do thing now. I done got these kids grown. That was my main priority. Since getting this, it just made me open up to so many different things. Like I feel like I can do the thing now. Yeah, I mean, for real. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on our special day. My classmates and I are so excited to share this day with you all. I would like to express to you how much it means to me to be receiving my high school diploma today. It's been a long time coming. I have always felt that I lacked something in life. Completing high school was not only a personal goal for me, but it was a self-esteem booster. My high school diploma has planted a seed in my life for me to continue to grow and to flourish. Through this process, I now understand the true definition of grit.
This is a great day. We're so proud of all of you and your accomplishment, and we think that again, this is just a launching pad, right? Where you go from here is up to you.
It's an honor to be here to honor you, honor your dedicated, amazing achievement that has brought you to today. I know you're proud and happy, but when I look out at our guests and your families and friends, I know they're happy too. We've been doing the happy dance out in the lobby, but that happiness shows that they love you and we love you. And that love will never be diminished when you leave here today as a graduate. So congratulations.
I, Greg Wertenberger, School Director of the Excel Center, have 7 students who have met the graduation requirements set forth by the Excel Center and the state of Arkansas.
I, Marcus Jewett, Superintendent and Vice President of Mission Services for Goodwill Industries of Arkansas, by the power vested in me by the state of Arkansas, the Goodwill Arkansas Education Initiative School Board of Directors hereby release diplomas to be awarded to the members of the 2021 graduating class of the Excel Center. Congratulations, ladies.
Today was very awesome. Roadblock, very exciting, and I've accomplished a lot today. This is
Such a joyful time for our graduates, their families, and our Goodwill team. The Excel Center is a vehicle for all of those who thought it was too late to earn a high school diploma, who thought they had missed their chance. Today, for those who dream of earning a high school diploma, the possibilities that brings into reach, and accept that challenge. The Excel Center at Goodwill offers the opportunity to reach those opportunities. Statistics show that the children of high school dropouts are 50% more likely to drop out of high school than those whose parents graduated. In Arkansas, 12% of our high school freshmen will not finish high school and graduate. In some districts, the dropout rate is as high as 28%. Results from the 30 Excel Centers like ours operating across the country have shown the economic impact of a high school diploma is more than $9,000 per graduate the first year. The need here in Arkansas for a high school that provides adults with the ability to earn their diploma is great. There are more than 300,000 Arkansans over the age of 19 without a high school diploma, and in order to make a major impact in this area, we will need to open more additional schools in the state. The Excel Center here in Little Rock has the capacity of 350 students and is fully funded by Goodwill Industries of Arkansas at a cost of more than $1.7 million a year. As Troy mentioned, the Arkansas State Board of Education has approved us adding 2 additional schools, which would increase our capacity to over 1,000 students in the state. During the last legislative session, we had more than 50 legislators tour our Excel Center to learn more about the amazing work being done there. And currently, we're working with the state of Arkansas and private sources to secure the funding to allow for this expansion. The future of work is always evolving. The pandemic has been very impactful on our economy in many ways, has accelerated this change. In many industries, the lack of workers is resulting in an automation forcing event, resulting in a reduction of the lowest opportunities for the lowest skilled employees. The employment opportunities for individuals without a high school diploma and industry-recognized credentials are limited, and in the future, this number will be even further reduced. Our trade school, the Academy at Goodwill, is licensed by the State Board of Private Career Education and provides access to credentials and high-demand certifications for jobs in Arkansas. We work to partner with businesses across the state, focusing on advanced manufacturing, healthcare, information technology, transportation, distribution and logistics, business and administration, and construction. Later, you'll hear a great example of this partnership and the engagement that Goodwill has with a business leader through the Academy at Goodwill. Employment is the last of our mission objectives, and we strive to achieve this through operation of our career centers and our reentry services team. Our career centers across the state are staffed with career specialists who are eager to help navigate any barriers to employment, whether a person is reentering the workforce, looking for a better job, has a disability, or a background. We have a very intense and effective training program to aid those who want to reintegrate into their communities and go back to work. We help those in the Transitional Employment Opportunity, or our TEO program, learn about how to be a teammate, how to interact with coworkers and supervisors and customers, how to find work so they can rebuild their lives. Statistics show that 50% of those individuals released will return to prison. The recidivism rate of our TEO program is less than 6%. It has an impact. It's a win for the individual who has the opportunity to move beyond their past. It's a win for the families as they are reunited. And it's a win for the communities that experience less crime, and for the taxpayers who aren't paying more than $2,000 a year that it costs to incarcerate someone. The focus in the next year for our team at Goodwill is continuing the growth of our programs and services to meet the needs of those across the state of Arkansas, to work with legislature and private and public foundations to provide funding for an additional Excel centers across the state, and deliberate and focused growth in our donated goods business to ensure that we remain efficient and effective with the engine that provides over 96% of our revenue. Today, you will meet our 4 award recipients who, through their businesses or personally, have helped bring our mission to life. People who have either helped others overcome adversity or people who themselves have bettered their lives and their communities through the power of work. To our employer and partners, winners, we couldn't be successful without you. Hiring our graduates, providing additional services, and strengthening our communities. Thank you. For our Achiever and Graduate of the Year, we are so very proud of you. You truly are the why we do what we do. Your stories show our mission in action. They demonstrate that a label does not define you, your past does not have to determine your future, and that a mistake paid for should not be a life sentence. So let's meet and celebrate our award winners. Please enjoy the rest of the luncheon, and again, I'd like to express our gratitude to you, our sponsors, for your support that you provide Goodwill Industries of Arkansas every day through your business partnerships, your personal support, and your donations. Because of you, good will happen. God bless you. Before we get to the awards, I'd like to take a moment to again recognize our diamond sponsor, Banco ZK. Joining us today is Matt Buchanan, Executive Vice President of Commercial Banking. Matt?
Thank you, Brian. It is my pleasure, on behalf of all of us at Banco ZK, to congratulate you on the outstanding work of Goodwill Industries of Arkansas and to honor today's award recipients. The Goodwill team in Arkansas, under Brian's leadership, has responded to the COVID pandemic by supporting Arkansans over the past year with food distribution sites, by offering vaccine clinics, and with even greater job training and career services. Thank you for your proactive approach to serving Arkansans in need. You've made our community stronger, and that's why Bank OZK is pleased to continue our partnership and support the tremendous work you are doing in changing lives through education, training, and employment. It's incredibly rewarding to see the foundation that Goodwill provides to help our friends and neighbors with disabilities and other disadvantages reach their highest potential. But even more rewarding and inspiring is to see the determination of the award recipients, both the Graduate of the Year and the Achiever of the Year. I know, as in years past, today's award winners have a special kind of determination that all of us can learn from and be inspired by, and I thank them for the inspiration they offer to all of us here today. Laura, I'll turn the program back over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Matt and Brian. And you heard me say it earlier, you heard Brian say it, that because of you, good will happen. And that is why we are here today. Because of you, good did happen. With the support of donors, shoppers, community partners, and organizations like yours, lives are being changed. At today's 2021 Goodwill Awards, we are celebrating the amazing success of two people who have overcome many difficult challenges. We also would like to recognize a business and community partner that helped make the success of Goodwill's clients possible, because no one does it alone, whether it's recovery, a lack of education, maybe battling a tough job market, which we experienced. Barbara Mikulski was a social worker and became a United States Senator in Ned Helms' home state of Maryland. She once said, "Each one of us can make a difference, but together we can make change." And Brian, you're already up here. You're going to join me to present the Employer of the Year Award.
Our first award this afternoon is presented to one of the largest and oldest employers here in Central Arkansas. The organization dates back to 1921 and prides itself on values of service, honesty, respect, stewardship, and performance. Over the past 5 years, they have hired 276 participants from Goodwill's Universal Environmental Services Technician Training Program, our GUEST program, providing employment opportunities right after graduation. They've come to us to train another 151 of their current employees. And I think it's important to note that they also partnered with us this year to provide more than 100,000 COVID-19 vaccinations to the people of Central Arkansas. Baptist Health, you are our Employer of the Year.
Back in 2016, we were looking at ways to decrease our turnover in the Environmental Services Department. And Goodwill came up and mentioned that they would be willing to build a mock patient room so that they could train employees for us and give them a sense of what it felt like to work in a patient room. And that was something that we were very interested in doing. The changes that I have seen from this partnership is we have a more confident workforce. Giving those team members the opportunity to be trained, not only trained on cleaning and disinfecting patient rooms, but being educated. Goodwill has started the AHE CHEST certification program for us. That is the Certified Healthcare Environmental Services Tech program, and it has really given our team members the confidence that they need before they step boots on the ground in the hospital.
A year ago, people weren't maybe as thoughtful about how important environmental services is, but today with COVID-19 and infectious disease on the top of mind with everyone, you certainly understand the value and the importance of our environmental services team in terms of the job they do every day. They are the frontline defense for infection When we talk about cleaning hospitals, we're not just talking about sweeping floors. We're talking about disinfecting patient rooms when patients are discharged, making sure that the environment is really safe for our caregivers and for our patients. Partnerships are extremely important in today's world. And so for Baptist Health to be able to work with Goodwill Industries to create opportunities for people, opportunities to serve, it's just really a great partnership, and we're very grateful that there's organizations like Goodwill that have the ability to do this.
At the beginning of the pandemic, whenever things first started shutting down, I got a call from Goodwill, and it was, what can we do? What can we do to help Baptist Health? And they put us at ease. It was great to know that we had a partner that was willing to do whatever they needed to do to help us continue to build our workforce in the middle of a pandemic and without really knowing what was going on. So we were very blessed by that and thankful for that.
So let's have a big round of applause for Baptist Health. With us today is Kathy Dickinson, Baptist Chief Human Resources Officer. Do you want to say a few words, Kathy? Please, yes.
Thank you. I'm honored today to accept this reward on behalf of Baptist Health. But I think one of the most rewarding things about this partnership is I can remember years ago when I toured the facility, how amazed I was at everything that went on behind closed doors. You know, you just don't know that when you see the different Goodwill places across the state. And so once we did that and we started working on our partnership, I think one of the most rewarding things for me is we get as much, they've given us so many resources and support in hiring that we wouldn't normally have. So it really does help us go out and find people to bring into the hospital to work. So we've always been very appreciative of their help, and they've always been willing to do anything they can or share their resources with us. So we're very excited about our partnership and look forward to really expanding it in the future. Thank you.
Our mission is changing lives through education, training, and employment. Our community partners are just as important to that mission as our employers. Laura?
Goodwill's 2021 Community Partner of the Year is an organization in Northwest Arkansas with a mission very dear to my own heart. They are committed to second chances, helping men and women who've been to prison turn their lives around, and are helping those struggling with mental illness or addiction find a community of support.
With their help, clients who came to us needing to find a job because of past criminal charges were able to get even more. They provide counseling, housing, a food pantry, hygiene items, recovery classes, and many other services.
So returning home, thank you for all you do, repairing lives and restoring families. You are Goodwill's Community Partner of the Year.
Story how we got connected. I just remember kind of, having this vision, and I knew some folks in Goodwill and just kind of shared that with them, and Marty Hausum was one of them, and just kind of sat down with her, brought her into the building and said, look at this building, this is what we're gonna do. I just gave her the vision, and I just kind of ignore that this building's been empty for like 4 years and is ran down and it smells really bad. But just see what we can do here. We can have men living in the back, and we can have people walking in the front door, and we can give them clothes and food and jobs and mental health services, and we can give them hope. And she just goes, let me get my boss on the phone. Like, we want to be a part of that, and what's that look like?
They've been here how long? Returning Home Center's been here how long? 3 years? What took so long? This is the greatest gift I've ever been given, was a chance to rebuild my life. I'm almost completely human again.
Right now, ever since we've been open, a TEO has ran our front desk. What is so amazing of somebody coming out of prison or jail And then the next day they walk into the door and one of the TEF, somebody that's been there, that's done that understands them, to hear their frustration, to go, so glad you came, thank you so much for coming, why don't you grab a seat, we're gonna get you some help. Like that's what we need to be doing, empowering the people we serve. So we were able to do that with Goodwill, and there's been such a huge partner, and it's an honor to receive this award, and Goodwill will always be a part of the story of returning home and how we got started and how me and Marty just grinding it out from day one together. So it's pretty awesome, and definitely love your guys' mission, and you're willing to invest in the men and women in Arkansas. It's a passion that we align, and so that's why we work so well together.
Nick Robbins, returning home CEO, joins us virtually. Nick, again, thank you and your team for all that you do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the award. We're really honored. We appreciate the great investment you make in our state, and we're honored to be a partner of yours in Northwest Arkansas. Goodwill, like the video says, you've been with us since day one, and we appreciate you greatly, and thank you for taking your passion, your skills, come alongside us in this work, and we look forward to only grow this collaboration in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nick.
Now, when Goodwill says, because of you, good will happen, it is true, and we can see that here today. Each of you is helping to change the lives through education, training, employment opportunities. Our 2021 Graduate of the Year is an example of that.
When he first came to us needing help finding a job, he was very shy. He had some other personal challenges to overcome as well. We were able to partner him with a job coach who worked with him on his soft skills and interviewing skills. After working with his job coach, he went on an interview at Pride Industries. And not only did he get the job, shortly after he was promoted to supervisor. He's hardworking, dedicated, and continues to grow. Trenton Thomas, you are doing amazing things. Congratulations. You are our 2021 Graduate of the Year.
Before I even heard of the Goodwill program, I hadn't worked in over 10 years because of depression and anxiety, and it was pretty bad, you know. I found out about the Goodwill program through the vocational rehab, the state vocational rehab, and they connected me, and I had an interview with Brandy, and I adore Brandy. She helped me a lot through the program, the Employment First program.
When I first met Trent, he was really shy, he was withdrawn, he didn't really have a lot of confidence in himself. He was ready to get back to work, but he just didn't know what he needed, where he needed to go. He just needed a lot of guidance.
When I started the program, number one, the people that were in my class with me taught me probably more than anything, because they were all everybody was very nice to me. It was like a little family, you know. I just really appreciated that, and I learned that I wasn't alone, kind of, you know.
We wanted to find something that was going to fit his needs, and it took a while. It took about 5 or 6 months, and then I learned about Pride, or you know, we kind of worked with him with other clients, and so they had a job opening.
And again, the more my confidence level, you know, kind of solidified, I realized I was finally able to do things that I'd never really thought I was capable of before. That has been probably the nicest unexpected thing, you know, and I think my situation is kind of rare in that I just happened to meet the right people along the way.
He took it and decided he was going to do his best, and within those, you know, his first 3 months, he was already moved to full-time, and they were already talking about moving him to supervisor, which they've now done. I'm so excited for him. He really deserves it. He's worked so hard. He's overcome so much just with his own anxieties and just his own issues, and I'm just so proud of him and all the work that he's done at Pride. And even getting to work with him now, we're going back with other clients, and he's training them and he's teaching them, and so it's just really exciting to see that and see how much he's grown.
For people with disabilities, it can be a struggle to find good people to work with, I think. But again, I think my situation, I was just very lucky to come across some really good people. I just happened to really find the right thing for me, and I credit Miss Brandy and the Goodwill program for like showing me that I was capable of doing these things, because I didn't think that before. You know, it gave me a lot of confidence, and I'm grateful to that for everyone teaching me that or showing me that I can do it.
Trent is truly dedicated to his job. He's hard at work right now and wasn't able to make it today, but he recorded a short message for you.
Hi, I want to apologize for not being able to make it to the luncheon. I was unable to get off work, and I just want to say thank you, and I'm grateful immensely for the program, the opportunity that I had in the Employment First program with Kaylee Henson, Brandy Alcasio. They supported me and let me figure out how to do things my own way, but nudged me at the same time. And I have been working for Pride now for a little over 2 years, and I've gone from janitor to being supervisor for 3 buildings, and I would not be here today doing this job if it had not been for Goodwill and Miss Kaylee and Miss Brandy.
And as part of Trent's award, he's also receiving a $750 check sponsored by Bank OZK.
Our final award this afternoon goes to our 2021 Frank Lyon Jr. Achiever of the Year. This former client, who has completed a Goodwill program and now works at Goodwill to help change lives of others.
Our winner is the perfect example of taking Goodwill's mission full circle. When you think of her, you think about passion, a passion for helping others change their current circumstances and see a brighter future.
Through her actions and engagement, she serves as a reminder to others that addiction doesn't discriminate, and your past does not define you. She's a real inspiration to our TEO clients, our students, and our team members. She is open and willing to discuss the challenges that she has faced and overcome. She is always willing to provide inspiration to those who are facing challenges. Elizabeth Blatty, you are our 2021 Frank Lyon Jr. Achiever of the Year. Let's see her video.
I had a lot of trouble in school when I was around 8, 9 years old. I had a lot of depression and anxiety issues. As I grew older and got into high school, I found other outlets to deal with that. I was in drama. I was in a lot of clubs in high school. I started making really good grades, and I really thrived in high school. I got pregnant when I was 20, and I dropped out of college. I started having bouts of depression, and my anxiety started coming back. And so I started using alcohol a lot to deal with those kinds of emotions. I got into a really bad car accident, and a doctor prescribed me hydrocodone. And that was really kind of the beginning of a downward spiral for me. I was very, very addicted to painkillers and opioids. Once I started using heroin, it was very fast. I caught a felony within 2 months A lot of times when I was using, I would pray that I would never wake up. I really thought that my family would be a lot better without me in their lives.
When the police knocked on the door to arrest my daughter, I couldn't believe it. I knew things were not right, but I didn't realize they were that bad.
I tell people all the time that prison is the best thing that ever happened to me. It's a strange thing to say, but it was the only time in my life through my addiction that I had this period of clean time. When I got released from prison, I went to go see my parole officer and he said, "You have 30 days to get a job." I literally could not get a job at McDonald's because of the charges I had. I couldn't operate a cash register. I went to Goodwill and I was gonna fill out a job application, and I talked to a gentleman at the front, and I kind of just gave him a little bit of a story, a backstory, told him I was having trouble finding a job, and I started crying while I was talking to him. And he said, "How long have you been out?" And I said, I've literally been out a week. He was like, come to Career Services and talk with them about getting into a reentry program.
Elizabeth joined Goodwill through one of our reentry programs, and it was immediately apparent that she was someone special, that she had a drive and a desire to succeed, but she's also a very caring and engaged individual.
This opportunity here at Goodwill I saw was a stepping stone to something much better, and that's why I said she was proud to work in the warehouse and do whatever she had to do to maintain a job.
Goodwill's mission statement is so true. Changing lives through education, training, and employment. They changed my life through all of those things, and that's my entire career now. When I talk to students at the Excel Center all the time, I think it's funny because they're like, "You don't look like a felon." And I always tell people, what does a felon look like? A felony is a word used to describe a crime you commit, not a person that you are. The truth is I'm not a felon. I'm a mom, I'm a daughter, I'm someone's wife, and I'm somebody that I'm proud of now. Everyone that I have come into contact with at Goodwill is what I call mission-minded. Most everyone that works here because they want to work here. They want to do something for other people. And now I'm one of those people. We are the people that we serve. I am Goodwill. I have been through programs here, and now I'm a part of the school here, and it's really awesome, and Goodwill changed my life through employment, training, and I hope I can do that for somebody else.
Elizabeth, you do that. Please come up and receive your award.
And Elizabeth also receives a $750 check. Congratulations to you, Elizabeth.
Goodness. Whew. I'm very nervous. It is really humbling to be recognized by an organization that has done so much for my life. So today, in 2017, I was sitting in the Arkansas Department of Corrections, and I'm sorry. And I was inmate number 713226. And Goodwill really gave me my name back, and it gave me my life back. I've had the honor of working at almost every department in Goodwill. I worked in donated goods. I worked in every aspect of workforce development, or mission services now. And I knew I was in the right place. One of the first jobs I had when I was a TO was answering the phones at the front of the door where the executive office is. And Brian Marsh introduced himself to me and asked me my name. And then every day I saw him, he said, "Hello, Elizabeth." And I was like, wow, that's like the CEO of this company, and he knows my name. And so I was like, okay, so this is where I want to be. I do wish Cindy Varner was here. She was the VP of Workforce Development when I graduated from the TEO program. And she really invested a lot in me, and she believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. So I am very grateful to her for that. She is still a friend today. And she would give me like a long list of things to do when I first started there. And she was like, so make a spreadsheet and then do this and then do that. You got it? I was like, yeah, I didn't get it. So Tammy Wheaton, thank you to Tammy Wheaton, because Tammy showed me how to do a lot of those things. And then Cindy was like, oh, this is great. I was like, thank you. So thank you, Tammy, for that. And then, of course, my Excel family. This is my dream job. You guys got to see our graduates. And Becky Lockett. I don't want to look over there because I will start crying, so I'm not going to look over there, but she taught me all things Excel and took me under her wing, and she's an amazing person. And Cindy and Tammy and her, those were 3 career-driven women who were in leadership roles, and they're all mothers also. So that was very important to me, and they showed me what it was like to be a strong, independent woman. And that was huge to me. And then my boss, Greg, is amazing. He's always been so supportive. Anyone that knows Greg knows how supportive he is, but the first week he started working as the director at the Excel Center, he and I went to the boardroom for me to tell my story. And he was like, that's just so awesome. You know, he never made me feel any kind of way, like my past didn't matter at all, and it really shouldn't. And then, you know, my Excel family, all of them, Marcus, just all of the people that believe in me, and really everyone in this room. I work very closely with all of you people, and no one's ever made me feel a lesser of a person. And I thank you for that. And I am so thankful to have a job where I can talk and touch other people with my story. Because, you know, all that pain in prison and everything I went through, I did not want that to be for nothing. And whenever I see these TEOs that are working around Goodwill, I always say, my name is Elizabeth Blady, and I was a TEO. That's something I'm very proud of, because Goodwill did change my life, like in every way possible, so I'm like very protective of it. And so it's a domino effect, and it's so important to celebrate these moments so that other people can take that stigma away from past mistakes, and so that other people in the TEO program can see this and be like, yeah, you know, you can do this. I used to watch other TEOs like Jamie and Steven, and you guys gave me hope, because I was like, they have really good jobs. Like, people trust them. I want to be like that, so I hope that other people see that in me. So this means more to me than you could ever imagine, because this really gave me my life back, but it did more than that, because this let me be the mother that I have always been, but it gave that back to my son and to my family. So you have no idea what this means to me. Thank you so much, all of you, and everyone that supports Goodwill. Thank you.
Let's give another round of applause for Elizabeth. This is always the part where Brian leaves me, so I'm the only one crying. I saw you over there. Elizabeth, thank you on a personal note for not letting your past define you and using your story to help other people who were in your same position. Thank you so much. And we want to thank all of you for coming today. We appreciate it so much, whether it's here in person or joining us virtually. Goodwill's programs would not be successful without the partnerships with all of you and the amazing determination of the people that Goodwill serves. And remember, as we leave the Robinson Center this afternoon or log off, because of you, good will happen. Thank you, everyone, and have a great afternoon.